I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is Obituary-Within the Dying Breed.
The big homie Daniel.
We fought like hell to find the lyrics, my man.
He fought like hell to find the lyrics too.
We postponed the song for like a month because we really wanted to find the lyrics, because you know, like, we specialize in lyricism on the channel.
Yeah. I posted it on our Facebook. I posted it in Patreon, asking everybody to find it.
We tried as hard as we could. Even here, look, boom.
I know.
Nobody can find it. So that's really, really interesting. Very, very interesting.
So I wonder if we're going to be able to understand some of the lyrics, or if it's going to be like, we can't.
Yeah.
Everybody's at the mercy of this band to put them out.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they didn't. That this song is part of a deluxe version, so that seems to be part of the issue. But we're just gonna have to do our best with what we have here, and that's okay, because now we're gonna focus on the metal, and we're gonna get right into it. Within a Dying Breed from the band Obituary. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Whoa. It's actually pretty spooky.
It is.
It's like, you combine that with that picture, it's like...
I know, yeah.
Alright, you're in hell. That's it.
Ugh.
Gavel is smashed, the die is cast, dunzo. I was able to make out some lyrics. Within, without, something of a dying breed, he was saying at the end. And then he was also talking
I heard something about like leaving on a road or something.
Yeah, like
that.
there was a crossroads or something like that. He was talking about I traveled far from home, and then something about crossroads or stuff like that. So I'm just gonna interpret this as they're saying that they're the last of a dying. You know when you say so and so's the last of a dying breed, it's like they don't make them like that anymore. Yada yada yada. So maybe he's talking about like. Maybe the metal bands they came up with or whatever, and you know they're the last of a dying breed. Maybe they're like keeping it true cult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say it that way. Like maybe he's talking about, hey, you know, we're the you know graduating class or whatever, and they're the only ones still keeping it real. So they're like the last of a dying breed. Maybe they're talking about themselves. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna assume the big homie is talking about. What about you? What did you think it was about?
Well, like I said, the only thing that I heard was something about leaving and like going on some road and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
You know, just journeys in general. Like when you think about everybody has a different journey in their life and where they're going to go, and roads are going to take you different places, and they're going to cross paths with other people, and they're, you know, so I thought maybe it had something to do with that. I did think that he said something about having your head chopped off, but I don't know if that was actually in there. I said it in the review when I was like, did he just say, or if it was just I was influenced by the picture.
Yeah, the visuals are actually pretty grody, to be honest with you. They're pretty nasty, the visuals.
Yeah, the carving into the skin.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
terrible.
I'm not really a fan of that stuff. But go ahead, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I didn't really know what it was about because I didn't have the lyrics.
But it could just very well be about them as a band. But again, it could also be talking about. Okay, I'm done.
Maybe that could be all of us.
Done looking at this picture.
Okay, maybe that could be all of us.
What do you mean?
Well, all of us are in a dying breed. You know what I mean? Like, because all of us,
I don't know.
All of us die. Like, none of us are immortal, so we're all dying. We're all heading toward death. We all take our journeys and take our paths and stuff, and then we land. Because of the fall, all of us are in a dying breed.
Yeah.
But,
although that phrase is usually very, very specific. It's usually about, you know, a group of people with a certain mindset or a certain whatever that now is fading away because changes are coming and things like that. Mm-hmm. That phrase is usually usually used that way.
Maybe it does have to do with the metal
but
genre itself.
Well, I was in this group one time and they were like, yeah, the new generation of blah, 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 they're not the same because they don't have to do the same things to blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, but it's like, I was like, what does it matter? If the guy operates, then he operates. Like, who cares? Mm-hmm. Like, if they have to. So sometimes I'm just like, that's just something that people say because they want to maintain a certain, like, elitist mindset. But then we were in a situation and I was like, holy shit, this kid, like, he's out. It was a certain situation. And then the old timer was looking at me like, and I'm like, I remember, it was so funny because we were arguing about it the entire trip. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, whatever happened. And then like, he's just looking at me. And I'm like, I said, you've got to be the most petty human being I've ever seen in my life. We could have been dead. Like, we could have died. But you're sitting there, like, I could tell he was sad. He was glowing. I'm like, we could have been dead. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's what I knew that my
the effect that you have on people and people wanting to prove you wrong.
Yeah, I know.
That's next level.
In that moment, I feel like that guy would have been satisfied to bleed out if he would have been able to say, "I told you, you."
That's so terrible.
But after that, nobody from that, we wouldn't let him.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was the main guy.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, no, he's not going. They're like, oh, why? You have to give a justification. I was like, we don't have to justify shit to you. You're not going. Period. Full stop. It was unfortunate though, because what ended up happening was that everybody was like, oh yeah, we're not going with those guys. So then they had to, and they didn't have any experience, and a couple of those guys, they were dead.
Wow.
But I'm here, so it's like,
I'm very glad you are.
This crazy situation. But the dude was just smiling at me, last of a dying breed. I was like, you're ridiculous. He's like, oh, you're avoiding it. He's like, you're avoiding the discussion. He's like, hey guys.
Were you avoiding it, or you were just like?
It's so hard to explain. It wasn't that I was avoiding it. I'll just say that I wasn't avoiding it. It was a ridiculous conversation to have in that specific moment.
Well, I was thinking like if there was, like let's say you had this conversation
and it
with somebody.
was me who was in the most trouble. And it was some dumb shit like the guy picked up the wrong phone and so it was like funny for him, but honestly, even if it was him in that situation, he'd have been the exact same way. So I was like really, like what the,
Yeah.
But and he just had this big smirk on his face, and I wanted to attack. I wanted to kill him. I was so angry. I was so mad. But then the other guy was there, and like he had his head down, and he just, and there wasn't a lot of, So I was just like, I was like, I wanted to murder them both equally. Him for smirking, and then the other guy for just being
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was nervous, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, the baby's moving so much, and I just want to hold him.
I was nervous, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy's like, yeah, it looks like you should have been screened a little bit better, huh? Don't you think, Vin? Don't you think you should have been screened a little bit better? I slapped that guy.
You did?
Yeah, the guy picked up the wrong phone. Yeah, I slapped him. Yeah.
What did he do?
He bled. Yeah.
Did he apologize? What did he do?
Well, yeah, of course he apologized, but like that, I said, you're out. You're out.
I can't believe that, like in coming up, like we slapped each other as kids, but no grown people slapped other grown people.
Yeah.
And like the stories sometimes that you tell me, even like from your high school days, like girls slapping guys that were, I think that some of the slaps, I'm sure, were well warranted, but it was just that I'm just not,
Yeah.
we didn't do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah.
Well,
there you go.
there you have it.
Why are you laughing? Like,
Because the way that you tell
still
stories,
actually pretty upsetting the situation.
well, I don't know the situation. I just know what the little things that you're dropping right now. But sometimes, like the other night, you were saying like all these like weird things before you fell asleep, and so I'm like, sometimes I just feel like you're just a giant code. You're like. Are you watching something about Joe Rogan and Fear Factory or Fear something with Joe Rogan?
Huh?
I don't know. You said that there was this, you were like, I just can't believe that people participate in this show. I was like, what show? And you're like, and when I ask you questions when you're like that tired, you act like I'm the moron for not understanding what you're saying. And you're like, on the show with Joe Rogan, like, people just kiss other people, and, I mean, they'll just, all this just to win.
What does that have to do with this song?
Right now, because you're telling the story that's all like, I'm like, what's happening? And you're like, why are you laughing? I'm like, I don't even really understand the full story.
Well, I was saying that we were, it doesn't matter. I mean.
It doesn't matter.
It was a bad situation, and, whatever. So I'm glad that you found it funny. You found it funny too. Maybe you should marry that guy. You guys can both laugh. You can
No, babe.
both laugh at people who almost die. So.
No, I'm not laughing at the fact that somebody almost died. I'm laughing at the fact that it's really next level the way that people like to prove you wrong. And like, here's this literally life and death situation, and the person is gloating over the fact that they were right. The effect that you have on people is next level.
I didn't think that was that funny, but okay. Whatever.
You can't see what I'm saying?
No, I couldn't see what he was saying at the time. I can't see what you're saying now.
Don't you think that it's crazy that somebody in that situation would be gloating?
Yeah, I do. I think it's really fucking crazy a person in that situation would be gloating.
Right.
I agree with you.
Right.
But I don't see how it's funny. I think it's crazy, but I don't see how it's funny.
It's funny the effect that you have on people, and people want to prove you wrong. Even in a literally life and death situation, the person is more interested in gloating because they were right and you were wrong. That's some crazy effect to have on people.
Yeah, I guess.
I always think it's funny when you're like in debates and like you'll be like, hold on. And like, or you'll say, you're lying. And like within like 5 minutes, or you'll say like, okay, are you gonna let me talk? And like within minutes after you say that, the person says it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
The effects of Vin.
Alright. Okay.
Well, what do you give the song?
Well, I really wish I could have seen the lyrics. I was tripped up by that. It was heavy as hell, though. It was very, very heavy. Mm-hmm. But I felt like there were some like time changes, but there was like one time signature, like it went from slow to like really fast, and then it slowed down again. And I was like, I wish they would have kept going with that speed for another set of rounds.
Oh yeah, I heard you.
But when you're writing, but when you're writing, like sometimes it's hard to tell. Because you practice something so much and you're like, oh, maybe I'm being too repetitive here. Mm-hmm. Like there's a part of the song that we're doing where I'm like, maybe we should do 2 measures of that. And I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know, I don't want to be too repetitive. So you know, I understand why. But other than that, I actually enjoyed the song. It was a 9. It was challenging for me to not have the lyrics. Very, very challenging for me to not have the lyrics. I very rarely will ever do a song if there's like an entire song with lyrics and we don't have it. I think this is like probably the first time that's ever been done. Because like
we waited a long time.
Even with alliances, like if somebody does like a Swedish or a Norwegian band or whatever, like I'll say, hey, somebody get me the lyrics to X, Y, and Z. And I thought we were going to get them this time, but we didn't. But even without the lyrics, it's still a top-notch song in my opinion. It's a solid 9. What'd you give it?
I gave it an 8.8.
I can see that. Moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter if your friends live or die. What matters is beating Vincent in an argument. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.